evacuate and level it. Well, I don't think they're going to level it, but like I do agree, Brick Media, that the goals that Israel has said they're going to achieve are incredibly ambitious. As I said, in their statement today, the Israeli Defense Force said, we're going to make it so that Gaza, that Hamas can never threaten Israeli citizens again. That's literally the quote. Ever again.
Oh, guys.
Hamas won't be able to strike Israeli civilians ever again. And I don't know how they're going to do that.
How
will they make it so that Hamas will never, ever again
Hamas still has more people.
or won't even be
Hamas
able to
has
strike
no,
Israeli civilians? Some of our
fires.
viewers thought that sounds like they're going to do some sort of occupation.
He can't. He can't.
But that's a really big thing
He
to say
can't.
you're going to do.
He can't. He can't. He can't. How? I mean, it's more.
Certainly, it would seem like they would have
It's
more control over Gaza if they're going to do that.
Yeah.
Real K thinks Israel is going to reoccupy Gaza.
Gaza. Con كده كمل
Which there's all kinds of problematic aspects.
Yeah, this is real, guys. This is real.
There would be the tensions it would create. There would be the expense of this permanent occupation. There would be I'm sure there would be anger excited in the Israeli West Bank among Palestinians there and among various Arab countries.
Hey guys, welcome.
When Israel did occupy Gaza, there were regular uprisings there, sometimes where a lot of people got killed and injured. I don't know what's going on.
They don't kill. They don't kill. They don't kill. The Hamas is retailers. Whoa, bad guys. They have maps. They have maps. Guys, listen to this.
Now, one thing
They have maps.
is
They have the whole maps at Gaza. They know.
keep saying Hamas, Israel. Israel always talking about Hamas. They're not even talking about Palestinian Islamic Jihad. Is another militant group, a smaller militant group in Gaza. They regularly launch rockets at Israel. They took part in this. They have over 30 hostages, Palestinian Islamic Jihad. And yet Israel does not mention them in their statements. So is there a world in which what Israel does is just...
Israel sources, they will listen to me. Israel sources, I'm live. This is full. أمراض خليكي كمان إذا جود حلا حلا خيسك قمك يغلى على سنة اللي بعيا لحي ولا خذ ملاهي لك يسل قوم الحلقي لك كنا من السيل ملاهي سنة حلا هولا يزبل هولا يزبل يزبل هولا الزمان هي هلا كل سبعة زرية دريبانين خملك كل يكتبون عملا لا يسمى خليك للجوع هذا الشمال لا يسمى خبر الزمان هي لا دينا بايورا خبر الشمال هي لا خبر الزمان كل يسمى خبر الزمان هلا كل يسمى خليك يكتبون تدرى بالله هي جو جهلا هي خلص هي بالله خما هي هلا خبر يكتبون خبر الزمان حماية خبر الزمان هي الزمان حلايا الزمان مالا كل سبنا خير كل يسبنا سبنا حيرنا ولا كسبني حلايا هاي سبنا أما سبنا سمايا خير يا الله أنا همانيس همازي هلا جي هلا كبار كلا ما يسمى سبنا ولا ما نهينا حكي خدا ما نهينا هلا هلا خمر سيدك مالا هيرا خود سمان هيدا مالا سبنا ما خودي هاي تيا مالا أما سبرا كيس مالا هم يا جولا لكي مالا خبر كيس مالا سبنا ما خمر سيا حال هيرا هم كيس مالا هوا مال سالي أبرا أنا كيس مالا هيدا مالا كيكما خود كيدا هم مالا هيدا سما حالمس هم يا لك مالا يا خلاص ما يعني يصير جل كيس ما دخيلة من خلاص ما نينا هناك ما نسيت ما لا خما كلا هريه مالا خما حالا لك سمالك يوم ما سماي سما سدري جاب هذا أمس لكن تيجي become فريدة خما هي هذا سيد ما ماينا خما لا سيد ما نيجي حنا كي خلوا باهي خميس ما عينا سبانك خيار معي ما عادي ده عمالي خلي حال عم حاضر أما خيلك هي خم خملاين بيانا خملاي سمالاي كناخ خملايلا خوي سما ما مليت هذا ده هايلا ويريس بلا نبايس منا ده جدي ما نيجي ده منا تيري ما سمنا ينا لو ما جو هذا خماي سما ما أما سما كيدا ما كيدا لكم سما الحالة خملاي ده ملان خماي سلخلك كامل كيدا خماي يومي ما حال سما كيدا ما خدها ما ولا إننا ما نسمع سمنا وخملا كيدا ما خماي ده خماي كيدا ما خير خبا كون ما بسمع أكلس حالكي أول خمال لا يدعى خنا خيا جهارس مكيدا خمال كيدا ما خارس ما حلال زمان أماس برسيا ما باولا بريدة برسيا أماس مكيدا خمال كيدا خما تادا خما كيدا كل ما ينا لخمال سيما ما خما كيدا يا بابا سمع خما كيدا خلا كيدا ما سلا خملا سيدا نكمانا روز ما يريك ما يريس كماني حلا حرس سبق هيدا خما لزم خما كيدا ما هو كيدا خما نهين خما يكيدا خما خلا سيدا ما يريك خما سيدا ما مكينا خما سيدا خاكي خمال كيدا خلنا ما كيدا ما خمال سيدا ما كيدا أكيدا ما يبغى حلاكيس ما كيلكس ما مين جالس خمال كيدا لا شمال كيدا خمال سيدا ما خلال خريك يا ماما خمال سيدا خيرني خمايدا ما يدا خلا كيدا كما هيدا بلا خلا خلا خما علي خما سيدنا خلا كيدا مالا خدا لا خما سيدا كما كزلا هيدا خلا سما سهل ما اوكي awesome خلا كيدا خلا خود سماعي ده كيدي خمالي هيدا لا خمالي سماع سايو مادي وقود خمالي كيدا خمالي سماع خمالي كيدا هاي سيدا خود هاي سماعي دا سنا ده خما سيدا مالكيدا خما لكيدا خلا كيدا مايدا خما سيدا خما مالكيدا خلا مالكيدا لا مالكيدا جدا حوالي سيبا يعني عايزين مالكيدا ما معلومة خوسي دا خما كيدا نقوم كسماس ماماس جهالي بس Mohammed Makinas Hamas Hira Kumaya Jujia Hariha Okodi Hita Mahasi Mama Masadi Hira Koda Haida Masida Kamala Laki Khamakaki the Kalaya Jihara Kismalaki Sumalaki the Kola Presida mamaya Hamas hani kana Hamas kira mala hola pala ano pahihira come on Hamas insan mama kira Shola ha Komasida manakita kila Turkai de Komania. Hey guys, welcome. Alright, okay, so let's do that. Sorry guys, but that's just my speak. I speak in what happened? What's it? You want to fight? You fight out? Why? We have won. Are you what?
Leadership responsible for this decision before the world, as the ball was in Israel's court from now on. That's from Hamas.
What? Hold on. What? Hamas.
A bunch of houses targeted. I don't know. Some of them apparently belonged to Hamas leaders. You can think of different reasons why the Israel would want to target a house if they think it's being used for military activity.
Hamas is in the tunnels. Hamas is in the tunnels. They have a map. They have a map the city.
Or artillery fire, or whatever it is. That's from 1 minute ago from Al Jazeera. Here is a report from 1 minute ago from Quds N news outlet. Violent raids, the Israeli warplanes renew their targeting of several sites in Gaza City. So there's some reporting on that.
Hey, Bo.
So I'm also looking at some of the things you guys have been sending. Kennedy sent me this. Yeah, I had posted on this earlier today. A number of you have probably have seen this story. I've seen it covered on TV. In case you haven't seen it, there's a woman who gave an interview on Israeli television who said that her grandmother had been killed by Hamas terrorists, and she found out about it when it was posted. One thing going on here is that Israel, I was reading an article saying this last night, that Israel looked really vulnerable when this attack happened on Saturday. I mean, I believe over 1,000 Palestinian gunmen came over the border I mean, it was just such a security collapse. And then they, spent hours and hours going around killing people. So, and certainly one school of thought is that Israel's going to want to reestablish deterrence. I don't know how they, there's a lot of different considerations for Israel here. But that could be something they want to do. It certainly makes sense to me. I'm not saying, I'm not advocating they do X, Y, or Z, but it would make sense to me if that's something that they prioritize. Makes sense to me. I'm not saying.
I picked the software engineering program because they pay very well. It's a fast-paced industry. The bootcamp allowed me to keep
I seriously can't believe that I got this, a legit Bose SoundLink speaker, in the mail for free.
Clint Catalan said. Hey, waving hand. Bo said. Aglalalalalalalal. said, when will the bombing start today?
Israel.
Bo. Said. Sila Sheila Phila Wahila.
Hey guys. Hello. Yep.
Yeah, as of right now, the two streams are slightly. Yeah, I know there's various lanes out there, so I'm just trying to get you. I can't show you this lane. There's only so many I can look at anyway myself, so. Oh, there's a new big explosion on one of the Reuters streams. They're showing a new big column of smoke. Yeah, I know there's this on lanes out. Okay. Or is it the same? Maybe it's the same. You know what? The Al Arabiya might be Reuters on a delay. The Al Arabiya stream might be Reuters on a delay. I can't tell. It looks like it might be the same stream. Maybe it's the timing slightly. I think it might be. Oh, and I see it. I can see the explosion when it happened. And I heard it too. So big explosion on one of the Reuters cams. Let me look at. So this is from Pal Post, Palestinian news outlet. It says, Israeli aircraft target agricultural land in Rafah, south of the Gaza Strip. Now, I don't know if that's what we're seeing on one of those camera shots there. It's looking to the south. But, it could be targeting some sort of military equipment, could be targeting people, if they think somebody from Hamas is there, maybe there's some sort of tunnel stuff there, I don't know. Oops, hang on a second here. Hey, quick thanks to Jeff Manji. Thanks so much, Jeff, for your support. JMR, thank you, JMR, for your support. And Denise Ward. Denise asked about how many people are in Hamas. I don't know. This here, well, I don't, that's not very reliable. I was trying to find a number of how many fighters might be in Hamas. I don't know what the Washington Institute is. The Washington Institute for Near East Policy. Well, that's from 2009. That's old. Yeah, I don't have a number of people who are in Hamas. I'd like to get that. It's weird that you can't kind of easily just Google it. I Googled it and I couldn't find an easy answer. Yeah, I don't have a number of people who are in Hamas. Yes, as Lucky Lady said, about 1,000 reportedly came in this attack. But I don't have any reliable source. It's kind of weird. Oh, this is DNI.gov. Oh, this is actually, doesn't look like a government website. This is a U.S. government website, DNI.gov. It says Hamas, where is it? This is DNI.gov. Oh, this is actually.
Yeah, why am I? That's why I see.
Do you want a satisfying, remote-friendly job that pays well? Become a software engineer in
President Biden should demand his extradition now. Second, we must be there for our friend Israel. And what that means, it means action now. You see, I've been down to Gaza many times. I've sat next to the Iron Dome in a bipartisan group of members from both sides of the aisle. When we talked to those soldiers and asked them what they feared, is to be overwhelmed. See, a battery of an Iron Dome would go up and knock out a missile. It would first calculate where that missile was going and go next to it and knock it out. But it only has about 20 missiles at a time. We're watching 5,000 go. We always knew their plan was to build enough missiles to overwhelm, and that first set of missiles to be dumb missiles until you took out all the ability in the Iron Dome to knock them down. Then you send the precision-guided long-range missiles to go to larger populations. We need to resupply Israel where they have no doubt that they will ever be overwhelmed. Third, we must confront Iran. Hamas is Iran's proxy. They brag that they were helped by Iran to attack Israel. We must counter this new axis of power. It's an evil axis of Iran, Russia, and China. By building stronger coalitions across the Middle East, we must also expand the Abraham Accords to promote peace and freedom. 3 years ago, there was not war in Europe or in Israel, but today there is. The United States must reinstate the maximum pressure campaign against Iran. Refreezing the $6 billion is only the start. But under the last administration, Iran was only producing 400,000 barrels of oil a day. Now it's 3 million. They're making billions of dollars. If you look at the foreign currency reserves, 3 years ago, Iran had 4 billion. Today, it's 70 billion. They are wealthier, richer, and stronger under this Biden administration, and they're using that wealth to fund terrorism, attacking our allies and killing Americans. And it must stop today. Sanctions should go on Iran's production of oil, and we should replace it with American energy. Unshackle the blessings that God has given America. Let us be energy independent to supply our allies. It will also be better for the environment. If we simply replaced Russian natural gas in Europe for 1 year, we would lower CO2 emissions by 200 million tons in 1 year. We must enforce harsher sanctions, cut off Iran's ability to export oil, and to refuse to enter any future nuclear deals. In ramping up American production to ensure the safety and security of us here at home and our allies abroad. In the long term, we need to rebalance the power dynamics in the region, which means making America the energy powerhouse of the world. Fourth, we must focus on our own security. This just wasn't a failure in Israel on their intelligence community. It was ours as well. Why did we not know this was taking? Why do we have a Secretary of State who says he has no knowledge if Iran wasn't involved? He has less knowledge than the Wall Street Journal of meetings in Beirut and others, of a sophisticated plans going on for months. In an own Twitter notice of more than 40 days ago of Hamas telling us preparing for war. In looking at our own intelligent failures, we have to look to our border. In 2019, there was 0 arrests of people on the FBI terrorist watch list trying to come across our border. Just in this year alone, there's 151 from 160 different countries. In my own state, we caught 2 coming from Yemen on the terrorist watch list, from China and others. Why are they coming to America? What do they have planned? And who are they communicating with? President Biden has said previously that he believes the number one threat to America is facing is climate change. That is not true. The number one threat killing Americans is terrorism. The number one threat is an open border. The number one threat is weakening our economic power by lowering our ability to produce our own energy. Our number one threat is appeasement and funding Iran. Our number one threat is letting the buildup of the axis of the evil power of Iran, Russia, and China. Rather focus on his Green New Deal, he should focus on protecting the American people. We need an immediate assessment of our own areas of weakness and a glaring weakness in our own southern border. We know that individuals on the terrorist watch list has crossed Biden's open border. Who are these people? Who are they in contact with? And what are their plans to here in America? Fifth, as we look inward, we must confront anti-Semitism in the United States. To every single president of a college and university, do not sit back. Do not let anti-Semitism grow. Confront it and deny it. Condemn it. And the anti-Semitism here in this House, saying no comment is not leadership. Allowing elected members of this body to speak anti-Semitism and not condemn it, is wrong. To avoid it is wrong. As Speaker, I watched a member on the other side of the aisle try to reserve a building in here to celebrate anti-Semitism. I removed it. I removed a member from Foreign Affairs based upon anti-Semitism. I watched the leadership on the other side say no comment. Have we not learned anything from history? Have we not understand the moment in life we are living? Do we not realize that weakening America strengthens our enemies? Allowing Iran to produce more oil, appeasement, paying ransoms for American hostages has only made us weaker on the world stage. These 5 actions must be taken now. And to the President, turn off the barbecue and speak to the American people. Be the leader the world is looking for. Otherwise, the world will stay unsafe. With that, I'll take some questions. Yes.
Given this crisis overseas, there's been a lot of focus on paralysis here in the House. Over the weekend, several of your members even called for you to be reinstated as Speaker. Do you envision any scenario in which you could be a candidate for Speaker, especially if there's a deadlock in this race?
Look, this is about a moment in time. This is about what America's going to do. Could you imagine if we were sitting here and we listened further to a Gates and Mace, that we were in a shutdown? That as we asked our 30,000 men and women in the military in the Middle East to defend us without being paid, that the question around the world of what was happening here today, That's a decision by the conference. I'll allow the conference to make whatever decision. Whether I'm speaker or not, I'm a member of this body. I know what history has had, and I can lead in any position it is. And right now, I realize we need these 5 actions taken now and stop delaying. Yes.
What action can or should the House take this week? Obviously, there is a question of whether it can pass a resolution or there's a pro tem speaker elected quickly. What can that?
Unfortunately, the House can do nothing without a speaker. I could be upset with 8, but I could be upset with every single Democrat as well. They both made the same decision, a political decision, instead of putting America first. And so you have to finish the speaker, or I know this is new territory. It was created after 9/11. I don't understand why the Speaker Pro Tem couldn't lead as well. We should have a resolution on the floor condemning what's taken place so the rest of the world understands. We should supply and make sure that there's no question and no doubt that Israel will never be overwhelmed when it comes to ammunition. That if they decide to send the precision-guided missiles, that they will be knocked down. We should send no doubt to anyone that holds an American citizen that we will not leave without them. This will not be Afghanistan. We will not allow this administration to do this again. Yes.
What would you tell your colleagues to do in this state of paralysis? Would you tell them elect the pro tempore speaker and McHenry and buy themselves
Look,
time? I mean, to do that resolution, you need something.
I'm going to allow the conference to do their work, but the one thing I would ask my conference, you have 96% of the conference in one place, and you're allowing 4% with the Democrats playing politics that now are putting a doubt inside this body. That is wrong.
Speaker Harvey, what do you make of, you talked about Iran as being part of this axis of evil, the reports of Iranian assets basically infiltrating the Biden administration. Do you see that as playing a role in the intelligence failures as it pertains to the
I see an overwhelming intelligence failures, but understand what transpired from one administration to the next. From the very first day of the Biden administration, they moved towards appeasement. Iran, economically, their regime was in trouble. $4 billion in reserves, $70 billion today. 400,000 barrels being produced to 3 million today. Look at the price of oil as well, as this Biden administration attacks our own ability to produce. But watch what else happened. The shift to now start paying ransom for Americans, so more were captured. The $6 billion, but it wasn't just the $6 billion, it's the production of oil as well. It's every movement they have taken. And what does it mean when you move towards Iran? Our allies wondered whether we'd be there. Then look at the next decision, what he did in Afghanistan. It made our closest of allies move to China. It allowed China to enter the Middle East, to bring Saudi Arabia and Iran together. He criticizes Saudi Arabia but praises Iran. Then he moves our intelligence to the #1 priority being climate change. However important we understand climate change to be, it's not the #1 issue of the intelligence community. This is a colossal failure. And then to open up our borders, knowingly what's coming across, to allow a secretary to tell you the border is secure when nobody can ever look at you in the straight face and believe that. You have 151 people on the terrorist watch list that were arrested. Do you know how difficult it is to get on that list from the FBI? But in 2019, the number was 0. Iran is stronger, more financially secure, and utilizing that resources to fund terrorism around the world. Killing Americans, taking hostages of Americans. Put it in perspective. 9 Americans died so far that we know. 800 Israeli deaths of a population of 9 million. If that was to happen on American soil, based upon what's coming across this southern border, that's the equivalent of 30,000 Americans being murdered and slaughtered. So what we should be doing and what he should be doing right now, President Biden, is securing the support of every other nation around the world for Israel to defend themselves. This will not be a short endeavor. Just as ISIS was our number 1 priority to remove, Hamas should be as well, and any terrorist organization associated with Iran.
Mr. Speaker, whenever you guys actually get a speaker, as far as money being spent, you guys have about $3 billion to spend.
$3 billion to spend what?
To spend now. $3 billion, isn't that true?
What are you talking about? What department?
Well, as far as Homeland.
You have a number of areas to spend. Are you talking about $3 billion to spend on the border, $3 billion to spend in weapons, $3 billion to spend where?
As far as aid,
Are you talking about aid to Ukraine? That's not true. You have $9 billion.
okay, well, how much money, well, Mr. McCall is asking for a certain amount of Israel.
Right now in Israel, we store ammunition. We should be able to release that. Another thing that needs to happen here, as we had supplied arms to Ukraine, we have depleted our stockpile. We are slow in redeveloping our stockpile. This is something I have asked this administration time and again. I believe it could be a bipartisan, that we should expand our ability of production so we are never caught short. And we watch this terror. And the one thing you have to realize, this new evil axis of power work together. But how can our own intel department not realize what the Wall Street Journal knows of meetings in Beirut, of planning, of even on the internet, of saying 45 days ahead? This was the 50th anniversary. As this took place, I have many friends in Israel, in government and out. I called the speaker, Ohana. We're close. I thought, to me, it felt as though a lot like 9/11 in my life. He said, no, it was more like Pearl Harbor. Pearl Harbor came on a day that most Americans were going to go to church. It was a surprise attack. It was an intel failure, similar to what happened here. I called other friends who I've known quite some time that I visit in Israel and they visit here. He has 3 daughters. One was already called up in service. They said, please tell Americans that this won't be over in a short endeavor, that this is something they have never seen. The amount of deaths that was slaughtered, like the Holocaust. Taking of their phones so they can film it and show others. Parading children and grandparents, Holocaust survivors. Who are we? Who are they? Why can we have somebody that's elected to Congress defend that? And why are people so afraid to condemn what they said? That's wrong. Yes.
McCarthy, you had told us back.
I was asking her.
I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
Go ahead.
Thank you. You had told us last Tuesday that you might endorse a successor to replace you. We've seen Mr. Scalise and Mr. Jordan jump in. Do you have a preference between the two? Who would do a better job?
I let the conference see who unites them. Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Speaker, there have been some members advocating that you do return to the speakership, especially in light of the situation in Israel right now. If nominated in conference this week, would you accept that nomination?
Look, conference can decide all that.
You just mentioned you have friends in Israel, you traveled there many times. What message does it send to our allies, to the rest of the world, that the House is not elected a new speaker?
It's wrong. It's wrong. The whole action. Think the basis why it took place. Because I made a decision to keep government open. What if government wasn't open? How weak would we be then? You know, people get to run for office. People get to perform as they want. Sometimes people perform for